Thank you. Wow. And if we could have just a few lights in the sea of deep underwater darkness. There we go. Hello, good morning. Ooh. Wow. So I'm going to start out as we culminate our month of accountability, spiritual living through accountability. How's that no complaining going for you this month? How's that going? Good? Good? I'm seeing some heads on it. Seeing some heads going like that. Did you notice a difference? We have almost completed a full month of no complaining. We are rewiring our brain and our life experience to move from that energy of negativity, if there was any going on. We have now made that powerful choice. You see, there's just so much good happening in our lives and for us right now. And like Michael Beckwith says, and we don't even see most of it. We don't even know about most of it, but it's happening. And it's happening right now. And I'll tell you how one of them's happening right now. Do you see this screen? Yeah. There is nothing on the screen. And there's a reason why there's nothing on the screen. Is because I am determined to believe that we are meant to step out into that great unknown and visualize for ourselves what we are to see this morning. Oh. Yeah. Right on, right on. And I am not doing a spiritual bypass, folks. I'm not doing that by claiming that. What I'm doing is I am choosing to vibrate and to align at a frequency where I can invest my energy to experience that which I want more of, and that's love and harmony and peace and power and poise and light and life. That's what that looks like. That's what that is for me. You see, I got a beautiful presentation prepared for you this morning, and I'm going to deliver it, and we're going to experience it in the imagination of our minds is what we're going to do. And that's just one example of so many that we could give, that I could stand here and give to you, that has been demonstrations for us this month. We have had so many. And I have the incredible pleasure to honor our powerful practitioner team a little later today in our service. I know I've said this to you before. I've been a pastor, and I've been a senior minister, and I've been a licensed minister for 11 years. I've worked in a lot of different centers, and this is by far the finest, most powerful practitioner team I've ever had the pleasure and privilege to work with. And I will tell you, they have 100% manifestation rate. 100% manifestation rate. And I can say that ongoing because I just got another text yesterday for something that was turned in months and months ago to our practitioner team that has now manifested and demonstrated. And it was to beat cancer's ass. Good. Yeah. Right on. And I feel okay saying that because I'm quoting the prayer request. So I'm okay with that. As long as I'm quoting, I'm good. Just keep it clean, folks. Keep it clean. So there's so much going on. Whole month of no complaining. How cool is that? So raise of hands. Let me see by a raise of hands if you noticed one little single shift, or maybe millions, in your life this month from committing to no complaining. Come on, let me see the hands. Okay. Right on. And it doesn't mean that you didn't complain, right? I mean, slips happen. I slipped. God help me, I slipped. But I tell you what I did do is I noticed when I was slipping. And that's really what it's all about, isn't it? There's this slide, if you can picture it in your mind. There is this slide that I was going to put up. It's so cool because just think about this for a second. It's awesome. So let me find it here on my list. A habit is only a habit until you observe it, and then it's a choice. So I want you to think about that for a minute. Because how many of us still go around and go, oh, it's a habit. I just haven't done that 21-day thing to break that habit yet. So I can't be responsible that this is a habit that's controlling my life, because it's a habit, right? Oh no, once you observe it, It no longer becomes a habit. It's a choice. Yeah, it's a choice. So we get to do these wonderful things that support us in continuing to unfold this beautiful, incredible life that we desire to live. And what I really think it's all about, I kind of concentrated all this in, and I'm like, okay, if I was a genie with a magical potion, what would I like to say that it's all about? And this morning, in this moment, I would like to proclaim that I believe that it's all about me being a little bit more aware today than I was yesterday. Just to be a little bit more aware of the beauty, aware of the ecstasy, aware of my oneness with the divine, aware of any areas in my life where I am making a choice to call something a habit that I really want to change in my life, and being aware of what's beautiful and going so well in my life, and being able to have gratitude in my heart and praise it and celebrate it and cherish it. So maybe it's all about today being a little bit more aware than I was yesterday. And so there's this beautiful progression that takes place in our lives, in our years, and in our months, and in our weeks, and in our days, and in our hours. And so that beautiful song that I asked John and Fairlight to do before the talk, Me, by Paula Cole, how many of you did it touch? Yeah. And you know what? We talk about how life is a spiral, and it really is about being more aware today than we were yesterday. But you know, there comes this time, especially when we are in this teaching, and this teaching's all about becoming more aware. You know, this teaching's all about, we teach people how to think, not what to think. What to think is up on us, hence those habits and choices, right? But it's about being aware of what it is that I'm investing my energy in. Because that's what we are. We're energy. We're energy blobs. Just bumping up against other energy blobs. But we get to guide and direct that energy. And we've already talked many times here on Sunday mornings and in classes that energy is energy, and it becomes form when we pay attention to it, when we direct it. So the form in our lives is formed in our lives because we have invested our energy in it. And we get to decide what kind of energy that is, right? How cool is that? Like the Dr. Monsanto, or not Monsanto, dear Lord. But yeah, we can certainly direct some energy there, can't we? But no, the doctor that did the water study, you know, about how you put these words and these energies into the water crystals and they show up differently. And the same thing happened with plants, you know, and the little seedlings. I mean, it works everywhere, present, seen and unseen. So back to the song though, where is it the most powerful in order to affect change in our lives and the world we live in? Where? Here. Me. You. Me. You. It's me that is my enemy. It's me that beats me up. It's me that creates the monsters. And I know that as we do this, some of us are major gurus in this lifetime, have done the meditations, are aware, completely in alignment. It doesn't mean that me energy isn't any longer operating in your life. You've just become aware and you've graduated to a whole other experience of investing your energy in the life you want to create. So I say that because I shared that song in one of our Prac 1 classes not too long ago, and one of our practitioners said, yeah, I didn't really resonate with the song because that's not really a part of where I am in my life right now. And I get it. But you know, it is a part where some people are in their lives. And then that's why we continue with these services and these classes, is because we're all on this spiral together. We may not be traversing the same curve at the same time, but it really is all about being more aware today than I was yesterday. And in that awareness, being able to invest that energy and put it into our life to create that which we desire. I'm working with somebody who has completely changed their lives in the last 6 months. Their lives that has been the same for like 60 some odd years, that they have been grappling with, that they've been creating the monsters and they've been beating themselves up. And for the last 6 months, they have completely changed their lives. And do you know, one of the main things that did it for them is they made a commitment to themselves every day to invest their energy into that which they desired to create in their life. They went from habit to choice, right? There are so many people that I love and appreciate and honor and adore that are in this room right now that are doing that right now. And I am so incredibly celebrating you and proud of you and supporting you. And we're all doing it. We're all in this together. I just want you to know that. So let's see. Bear with me because I'm kind of changing this up in my head since we don't have a projector. We're picturing it in our mind, right? So, like Eric Butterworth says, don't go through life, grow through life. We're constantly growing. All of the mystics have taught us practically the same thing over and over again. They've all agreed that the soul is on the pathway of experience that is of self-discovery, that it is on its way back to its Father's house, and that every soul will ultimately reach its heavenly home. My soul reaches its heavenly home, folks, every single time I stop to remember who and whose I am. How about you? And it's delicious, and it's ecstasy, and it's wonderful, and it's exciting, and it's joyful. And if I'm ever not feeling that, all I have to do is bring myself to my breath and bring myself into this moment. And as the quote said, take me to my Father's house. Take me to the divine. Take me to that divine center that's within me. And so I'm gonna share this poem, and then I'm gonna share it at the end of my talk, because there's a poignant symbolism that's taking place here. Donna Markova, it's one of my favorite poems in the whole wide world. I know I've read it before, but it's been a while, so here you go. I'm inviting us to open our minds and our hearts and our souls to take in these words and apply them to you personally. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance to live so that that which came to me as a seed goes to the next as a blossom, and that which came to me as a blossom goes on as fruit. That's my desire. And there's a reason why that's my desire. It's because, there's this story that's fictional that, whoops, let me make sure I said that right. Fictional's the non-true one, right? Okay, thanks. Okay, story that's not true. Let me just say that because I don't want to lead you astray. Where there's this beautiful tree of life with all these leaves, and the leaves, stand for all these beautiful values. And there's this fictional story that says all the demons, all the negative thoughts and lower energy vibrations. I'm getting some static here. Oh, it's my stole. Those lower energy vibrations, the tree of life and the leaves are kind of keeping those at bay. It provides the oxygen of values that we get to breathe in and live our life with. And then it was said that if that tree ever dies and those leaves fall, all those demons come out again. And how do we keep that from happening? Oh my. It's us. It's each one of us individually that keep that from happening, you see. We all have that tree of life within us with the leaves of the values and the potential for those demons and the negative thinking and the lower energy vibrations to have its way with us and live through us and invest back into the world, that energetic vibration. Yet we have choice. We have choice. Are we going to participate in that? Because anytime I catch myself participating in that, it's because I suddenly became unaware. I went to sleep for a little bit of time. But we know sometimes we can fall asleep for a long time. Sometimes we go to sleep for about 30 minutes or 2 seconds. But we all know what it feels like. But what if it's truly our purpose here, right now, to be the leaves that breathe the oxygen of values into the world so others can breathe those in too, and to truly hold the high watch, to hold the higher level of vibrational energy for all of those that might be asleep or might be waking up and might not know how to deal with those awakened feelings, that might be waking up and finding themselves not in a place that they would generally choose, so they start acting out. Are you following me a little bit? Okay, good. Without being real, I'm trying to be a little vague here and then trying to be specific at the same time. So what if that is our true purpose? Because there's this other quote that really brings it all in for us right now. It's, let me see, when you if you want to awaken all of humanity, then you have to awaken yourself. You know that quote, right? If you want to awaken all of humanity, you have to awaken all of yourself. The song says it perfectly. It's me who creates the monsters. It's me who beats me up. It's me that's walking on that bridge. But I'm love. I'm love. So if I start creating those monsters, if I start beating myself up, what kind of energy am I now creating into form? Right? And then there's this vibration, this frequency, this law of attraction that takes place that, like begets like, right? So what if we were that tree of life with the leaves, with the values that's breathing that oxygen-rich air into this beautiful world that we have such a privilege to be a part of? What if it's on us? What if it's on us to clear all that up within us? And if we think, hey, I've got this, I've got it, I'm clearing it up, I'm cleared, there isn't anything else that I could clear. Well, then what is next for you to do? To be love? To be love? To maybe hold out a hand? That other slide I used earlier this month, it's good to be really nice to unkind people because they're the ones that need it the most, right? So if we've got our stuff in alignment, what's the best thing that we can do? We can love. We can be in service and we can love. And the beautiful thing about that is it reminds me of our practitioner team. Folks, to be a licensed practitioner in our organization, our movement takes years of study. And it's not just the study that does it, though. It's the years of study that allows us to do that inner work, to get that stuff that I was talking about kind of cleared up and cleaning our own house kind of thing, and so that we can be that love, so that we can know the truth for someone else that may not temporarily in that moment be able to know that truth for themselves. And so that's why that takes place, and I am so grateful for it. How many of you have gone to a practitioner before for treatment or put in a treatment request? Yeah. There's something to that. So I am love. And if my big awareness today is to be more aware today than I was yesterday, it's also, there's something else that's got to take place. Because being more aware today is great, but what am I going to do about it? That which I'm more aware of, am I just going to be like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm just going to hang out over here. I'm aware that that's going on, or I'm aware that this is going on, but I'm not going to do anything about it yet. Stuff's got to get really messy before I'm going to do anything about it, right? No, wrong. That's not my desire. Been there, done that. So, right? Being more aware what comes with that. There's this thing, this action that takes place. And that generally means something's going to change. Well, folks, I don't know why. Maybe it's just to give us that extra oomph, like the chick that comes out of the egg, or the moth and the butterfly that's supposed to struggle when it comes out of its cocoon, because that gives it the strength to live the life that it's birthing itself into. Maybe that's why we as human beings seem to really hate change. I don't know. But I do know that there's this weird, funky dance that we do all the time. We become more aware, we realize we need to do something with that, but oh my God, that means something in my life is going to change. So then we kind of put it off, or we ignore it, or we deny it's there. Oh, I don't see that. Until we have to look at it sometimes. Sometimes life comes up to where we have to look at it. But what if we were to befriend that? What if that change was really those leaves of oxygen-rich values and love that we're giving off, and we're truly affecting the world that we live in because we're celebrating the fact that we're more aware today. And then because we're more aware today, that means I get to positively affect something and raise that energetic frequency and vibration of energy. Oh my God, do you see where this could go? Or do you see where this is going? Right on. So there's this quote in this fictional story that I'm going to do my best to say, because it really got me. And the quote was, one of the characters in the story was saying something like, but you got to understand, it's up to us to know the truth, to prepare ourselves for the negativity that's coming. Is there another way we can look at that? Because like attracts like. It's up to us to know and to remember the truth and to stay awake so that we can be a part of the co-creation of the ecstasy and the beauty and the deliciousness of life, the play, the creation, the health, the vitality, the vibrancy. How many's with me on that? You guys with me on that? You want to be a part of that? I want to be a part of that. But there's this weird, funky thing that happens. Now, Donna Markova, who wrote the poem, tells this cute little story about her mom, who was kind of in her last stage of making her transition. And as long as Donna's known her mom, which is her whole life, she has worn this really tight girdle all the time. Never takes it off, except for maybe to bathe. And then she puts her tight girdle back on. So she was visiting her mom in this nursing home, hospice care place. And she's like, Mom, don't you want to take your girdle off and see what it feels like to live without this girdle on? And her mom's like, but Donna, I wouldn't feel like me if I did that. So I want to ask you, is there anything in your life that you are more aware of, that you're putting off or denying or even not even wanting to look at because you don't really want to change, because you don't think you'll know who you are anymore? But who are you? Other than an ever-changing, ever-evolving, ever-growing, ever-ascending spiritual blob of energy. Right? Right? And here her mom was wanting to girdle that blob of energy. Oh, could you imagine? Just try to imagine wearing a girdle your whole entire life, even when you sleep. Woo! Okay, yes. Woo! So, what about our stories? Because I believe we also have these stories like the mom that tends to keep us exactly where we are, or that those elements that we're really unwilling to change. And then how many of you know somebody that goes around talking about this one particular thing in their life that just gets under their skin, or they'd really like to change, or they just really are unhappy about that one thing? And you know, after a while, you're like, well, have you tried this? Have you done that? You know, and they're like, nope, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. Nope. So is it a choice or is it a habit? And what does it take? I mean, I'm being real, for reals with you right now. What does it take to take that on for ourselves? I mean, for some, it's massive medical situations. For others, it's needing to do it to assist a loved one. But what about the song? What about the quote? The quote. Let me find it. If you want to awaken all of humanity, then you've got to awaken all of yourself. What's it going to take? Is it going to take every single leaf to fall from every single tree and to not have any more clean water to drink? Or to not have appropriate care for our loved ones? Or good education for our children? I don't know. Only you know. What's it going to take? Is there anything keeping you in this moment from experiencing the highest joy and ecstasy of breathing that next breath? Because whatever it is that in your mind you are believing is keeping you from breathing that ecstasy and joy, I'm going to invite you to take a look at that. You are not alone. You are one with the divine, and you have unlimited support within this community, within your relationship with the divine. But I'm inviting you to take a look at that, because it's me that's got to clean up my home so that the rest of my home can feel good and clean up as well. You following me on that? Thank you. I'm sorry about the feedback here. You know, Parker Palmer says, no punishment anyone might inflict on us could possibly be worse than the punishment we inflict on ourselves by conspiring in our own diminishment. It's the song. But there's something else that takes place when we come into an awareness, a greater awareness, and that is this. Like Donna's poem. At this time, I think that is living an uncommon life, to live like Donna's poem. Yet I know and visualize a time where that is a common life that's being lived with myself, the community that I'm involved in, family, friends, and the world in which I live in. So there's something about living an uncommon life that I think we are, how do I want to put it? I think we're enamored by it, enamored by the idea, and I'm sure that we could all tell some stories about how and where we live an uncommon life, and that we would want to even more. But what does it take? It takes, like the poem says, to not die an unlived life, to not be afraid of falling or catching fire. You know, I'm going to do something a little later in this service that almost causes me to catch fire, but I'm going to do it. And you'll know what I'm talking about in a minute. But you know what? What happens when we do those things, where we kind of push our limits, we listen to our heart and our desire of joy? What happens when we step into that space? How do you feel? I know how I feel. How do you feel? Excited. Terrified. But when you're terrified and excited, what do you feel more of than you ever have felt before?
Present.
Yes. Do you hear that? Oh, yeah. Joy. Hope. I say aliveness. I feel so alive. So when I give myself more of those moments where I feel so alive, what is my chance of falling asleep? Probably slim to none. So I want to live an uncommon life because it causes me and invites me to feel more and more alive, which is going to allow me to not fall asleep as many times or as often because that's super important to me. Okay. Because let's think about some people who have led uncommon lives, right? I mean, name some people. Oprah's led an uncommon life. Yes. Gandhi, Rumi, Mother Teresa. Anybody else?
Louise Hay.
Louise Hay has led an uncommon life. Janis Joplin. Yes. And I bet you, if I were to pull up that chair in front of any one of you, I bet you could tell me how you've led an uncommon life too. I know it. I know those stories are in there. I know that courage and that passion and that wherewithal and that wisdom lies within every one of you. Is there anything you're waiting for? Are you waiting for anything? You feel pretty good? You feel pretty solid? Yeah. Does that mean that you're no longer evolving? So I wonder what evolution looks and feels like after we feel really good and solid. Imagine what that is. What would that be? What would that look like? What would that feel like? Woohoo! Blowing up mics, blowing up projectors. Fireworks. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Free. Somebody said free. Ah, yes. So perhaps now is the time to become the hero in your life story. You know those uncommon people we just talked about? How about you be the hero in your own life story? How about you take that metaphorical girdle off and don't be afraid of falling or catching on fire? How about you invite yourself and say yes to more and more things that make you feel really alive so that you fall asleep less and less and less. And then in that moment, and I even said this to Tony the other night, because there's those times when I was like, oh my God, everything's just so wonderful. All parts of my life is in joy, and my work is joy, and my relationships are joy, and I'm just in so much joy, and I'm afraid to say it, because usually when I say it, something happens. So how about also those moments where we feel truly grounded and centered in our being, and we're all joy? We're still evolving, right? There's always going to be that which leads us to be more aware today than we were yesterday. And it's not our enemy. And it's not our monsters. And it's not there to beat us up. It's there to awaken us, to expand us, to evolve us. It's truly beautiful. So if you can imagine, on the slide behind me, I had these pictures of Pride Fest. They were gorgeous. We had a fabulous time at Pride Fest. This year we almost had as many people as Mile High this year. It was awesome. We had a blast. And one of my most favorite memories of it was one person who had gone for the first time to march in the parade and volunteer said, oh my God, I get it. I get it now why we do this. I get it why this is so important. Yeah. So that means that there's areas that are beckoning within you to show up. There are places that your soul is being called to participate in and to show up and to say yes and to give your gift and to have your passion and give your wisdom and your experience. And you'll know, oh my God, I see why it's so important for us to do this. Like today I have the pleasure and the privilege of honoring all of our volunteers, all of the amazing people that participate in creating this community that we know as Center for Spiritual Living Castle Rock, that come together, that allow this service and all of our classes and everything that we do, our outreach, Pride Fest, everything, to make all that happen. We get to honor each and every one of you today. It wouldn't happen without us. It's a gift, it's a joy, it's a pleasure, and it's a privilege. So I want to say thank you, and we're going to do that in a little bit. So folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. And there's this slide which has this quote on it that we've been reciting all month long. And I don't have it printed. So we're not going to be reciting the quote. It starts out, though, I am a center in the divine mind. So maybe we could say that. I am a center in the divine mind. Yes, I am a center in the divine mind. And then the other part that I wanted to make sure I mentioned to you this morning before I conclude is, as you know, this month we've made some changes. And I know that you acknowledge the wisdom of leadership in making changes the same month we all committed to not complaining. It's working great. There is a method to the madness. So one of the changes we made is our beautiful walk of abundance, walk of prosperity. And a part of that is now everybody gets to leave every Sunday with a brand new prayer card. And on this prayer card is a treatment that one of our practitioners has written. Yet the third step, which is what? Realization, the affirmation, the realization, the whole reason why we're praying, is left blank. And on the other side are 3 affirmations that practitioner wrote that you can put in place of that third step, or you can put your own affirmation in there because you know better than anybody why it is that you'd like to do this prayer. So it's an invitation for you to take a part in your own prayer for your own life. And I think that's beautiful. And to me, that's the most magical, powerful way that we can align our values with our actions in our life and truly live a life uncommon, right? So we're going to read that. I'm going to read that poem again as I conclude. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise.